Your phone can still play free local radio when cell service, Wi-Fi, and data are completely dead. But in the United States, that feature is hidden and switched off in software. Most of us assume that if the network goes down, our phone is useless for news. That is not true for millions of Android phones. Inside the main board, there is a small FM receiver that can tune to local stations around 88 to 108 with no internet at all. It does not need a tower, it does not need a plan, and it uses almost no battery. The part was built in, then carriers turned it off with a single line of software, so you never see the radio app. Welcome back to Thoughtful Explains, where we break down clever tricks, hidden methods, and practical ideas that solve real-life problems with simple materials anyone can understand. Today we are talking about this hidden emergency radio. I will show you what it actually is, why your carrier chose to hide it, why it matters when power and signal fail, how to check your specific phone, and how to wake it back up tonight whether you have a Samsung, Motorola, LG, Pixel, or an iPhone. I will also show you the second layer inside that same chip that almost nobody mentions. The secret emergency data layer that can deliver text alerts to your phone when there is no cell service at all. Inside many Android phones, the chip that handles Wi-Fi and Bluetooth also includes a working FM receiver soldered to the motherboard. This is not an app, and it is not streaming. It is real hardware that pulls local FM straight from the air for free. It works without data, without a cell tower, without Wi-Fi, and without service of any kind. To get clear sound, you need wired headphones, because the cord acts as the antenna. That is why every real FM app tells you to plug in wired earbuds first, then lets you switch to speaker while the buds stay in. This radio uses almost no battery and zero data, which is why off-grid folks keep an old phone just for this. The key detail is that it is turned off, not removed, not broken, not missing. The hardware is there, the software switch is set to off. On iPhones, the story is different. Apple has said the FM path is electrically disconnected from the operating system, so there is no toggle to enable it. Why would a company turn off a free safety tool? It comes down to business. When you stream, you use data, and data is what carriers sell. A hidden emergency radio that uses no byte of data does not help that model. Manufacturers also had streaming deals, so some carriers asked them to hide the radio setting so customers would never find it. Support was another reason. FM needs wired headphones and can be fuzzy indoors, which creates support calls, so it was easier to leave it off. Emergency groups pushed back. In the United States, there was a real push from broadcasters and safety groups asking carriers to turn it back on because FM saves lives when towers jam. Some carriers did, and you now see a new app called Radio appear. Many others did not, so the chip sits there switched off by default. That single line of software is the only thing stopping you from using it. This is not about saving a few dollars. This is lessons from past disasters. In 2017, Hurricane Maria destroyed 95% of the cell towers in Puerto Rico in one night. Internet was gone. Phone calls were impossible for weeks. The only mass communication channel that kept working on the island was FM radio. People sat in cars with radios on for news, and families gathered around battery-powered radios for evacuation updates, while millions walked around with smartphones in their pockets that had FM chips inside that could have received the same broadcasts and run for days on a single charge. The chips were there, and they were turned off. The same pattern happened during the Texas freeze in 2021, during the California wildfires, and during the Helen flooding in North Carolina in 2024. Where entire counties lost cell service for more than a week, and FM became the only way to find shelter locations. Cell fails first. FM keeps broadcasting because many stations have backup generators. So here is the step-by-step guide to enabling your FM chip for every phone in your house. This takes about 90 seconds per phone, and it all works tonight. If you have a Samsung Galaxy or Note made between 2017 and 2022, open Settings, tap the search bar at the top, and type Radio. On most models, a toggle will appear. Turn it on. Now check your app drawer. You will see a new app called Radio. Plug in any pair of wired headphones because the cord is the antenna. Open the app and tap Scan for stations. You now have FM that runs on essentially zero data and almost no battery. If you have an LG, Motorola, or many older Android phones, the same path works. Settings, search FM, tap the toggle to enable. If no radio app appears, download a free app called Next Radio from the Play Store. Next Radio talks directly to the chip and unlocks it on most enabled devices. If you have a Google Pixel, the situation is different. Google left the tuner dormant on most Pixel models, but the chip itself is physically present on the Snapdragon system on chip. There is no native software path, but a free app called Spirit FM Unlocked can directly access the tuner on roughly half the Pixel lineup. If you have an iPhone, there is no software fix. Apple chose not to wire the tuner to any user-facing function. The workaround costs about $6. A Lightning to FM adapter for older iPhones or a USB-C to FM adapter for newer ones plugs into the charging port and turns your iPhone into a full FM receiver instantly. No carrier permission, no subscription. The signal goes directly through the adapter and bypasses the entire carrier-imposed restriction. You can find it on Amazon for about $6. Drop it in your emergency drawer next to your flashlight, and your iPhone becomes a working FM radio the moment you plug it in. Now here is the secret emergency data layer that almost nobody talks about. The FM chip in your phone does not just receive audio, it also receives a second invisible layer of broadcast data called RDS, Radio Data System. RDS is what shows station name and song title on your car radio screen, but it can carry far more. It can carry text messages, weather alerts, and full emergency broadcast text in plain language sent from local FM stations directly to any RDS-capable device within about 20 miles. In the United States, FEMA runs a subsystem on top of RDS called Alert FM. Local emergency managers can push targeted text alerts, tornado warnings, evacuation orders, shelter locations, and water contamination notices through any participating FM station. Those alerts arrive as readable text on the screen of any RDS-equipped FM receiver in range, including the FM chip in your phone, even when there is no cell service, even when internet is gone, even when power has been out for a week. This is the part carriers do not want you to think about. The chip is not just a free radio. It is a one-way receiver for emergency text broadcasts that operates completely outside the cellular network. It is the analog backup to the digital alert system that fails first in every real disaster. Here is the last detail that changes how you store your phone forever. FM reception uses roughly 1/10 of the power that cellular reception uses. A modern smartphone with screen dimmed and FM playing can run for 30 to 40 hours on a single charge. Turn on airplane mode, which keeps the FM chip working but turns off cellular searching, and you can stretch a single charge to nearly 3 days of continuous emergency monitoring. Add a small solar charger or hand crank charger to your drawer, and your phone becomes a permanent emergency communications device that costs you nothing. Tonight, find the toggle, or save Next Radio or Spirit FM to your phone. Tape a pair of cheap wired headphones to the back of the device and put it somewhere you will remember. There you have it, a reminder that you are not as helpless as the dead signal on your screen makes you feel. When the power is out and the network is silent, you still have a way to know what is happening, and that changes everything about how safe you feel in your own home. It turns a device you thought depended on towers into something that can look out for you when you need it most. If this shifted how you see the phone sitting in your drawer, let me know in the comments what you found when you checked yours. If you want more practical ideas that make life cheaper, safer, and smarter with simple tools you already own, subscribe to Thoughtful Explains. Thank you for being here. Keep a little preparedness within reach, and I will see you in the next one with another trick that keeps you connected when everything else goes quiet.